An interesting debate inside the Republican Party over how prominently to run on social issues. Penny Nance is CEO of Concerned Women for America, and David Frum is a former speechwriter for President George W. Bush and editor of the FrumForum.com. They both join us here for this debate, and I want to start it off by a poll number that we threw in specifically in this debate. This all came about because Mitch Daniels, a potential presidential candidate, talked about this idea of, hey, let's call a truce on social issues for 4 years while we focus on the economy for the next presidential election. So we asked that of Republican primary voters. Are you more likely or less likely to vote for a candidate who focuses more on the economy and less on social issues? 65% said more likely, 8% said less likely. Penny, I say this, and what do you take from this? I know about Iowa's conservative caucus goers, and that's a different campaign. Yeah. That number surprise you?
Well, no, not really, considering the fact the economy's in the tank and jobs are so difficult right now. But I would refer to a different poll. Concerned Women for America conducted a poll with the polling company on Election Day of actual voters and asked them, what did you vote on? What issues brought you to the poll? 75% said the economy, as we would expect, but 63% said moral values, and that number was even higher among women. So, you know, I think people make decisions about candidates based on a range of issues. It's not just the economy. It's not just one thing. It's a range of issues. We can, you know, chew gum and walk down the street at the same time.
Will conservative activists be okay if Mitt Romney basically says to you and your group in a private meeting, look, don't worry, I'm there, I'm going to appoint the judges that you think, but on the stage is going to say a different thing or nothing?
I think Mitt Romney would have to say a lot of things behind the scenes besides just that. But I would say this is the time where economic and social issues really go hand in glove. And I offer as an example the fact that Concerned Women for America is running ads starting today, 8 different states, 17 cities, about defunding Planned Parenthood. It's a very controversial program. About a third of their money comes from state and federal taxes, and it's the largest abortion provider in the country. And so I would say if Congress is serious about cutting spending, if they can't even go after these pet projects of the left, they can't really do anything about it.
Wait a minute. Isn't it kind of having it both ways, though, Penny? Because, I mean, what you're saying is, oh, well, let's wrap up our opposition to abortion as a fiscal issue. Well, I mean, it's one or the other. If you really have a fiscal issue, there are places elsewhere to cut. No. I mean, if you want to have a conversation about abortion, why not have it on its terms and not try to wrap it up in the fiscal or deficit?
I'm absolutely happy to, but you got to understand, this is part of the overall debate. Should my money or your money go to pay for someone else's abortion? This is a central point in the pro-life issue. So that's the issue on the table today. That's why we're talking about it. It is an economic issue, and it's a social issue, and it's not the only one.
There has to be room in the Republican Party for people who are not pro-life. Would you agree with that?
Well, you know, I think that clearly the Republican voters, the majority of them are pro-life. The majority of Tea Party people are pro-life. You know, in the last election,
but are people who are not pro-life welcome in Republican Party?
But it's important that the policy reflect our pro-life views. Of course, anyone that wants to come to the party is welcome, but we can't have the conservative leadership, the Republican leadership, bowing to what a few people think. It's important that life is a central issue. It's part of the Republican platform. It was part of the Republicans' platform with America. Life is central to what we believe, and if this party wants to stand up for it, then we will be part of it. But if they don't, that's when conservatives leave. It is important. It is essential for people who support life that if they're going to stay with the Republican Party, as most of them do, but let's also point out there are pro-life Democrats. Dan Lipinski held the line on Obamacare because of that issue. So you know, there are people that are pro-life in both parties, and the majority of pro-lifers tend to vote Republican because of their stand on the issue. And so it is essential, if they want to hold that part of the base together, that they continue to reflect that.